my gosh, we're live on time. Good Lord.
We are.
You would think after 2020 pandemic and all the Zooms and B lives and oh, my tummy's exposed. You would think we'd have this all down to a science by now.
Well, at least we're on time for once, right?
Are we on time?
Yes, we are. At 2 o'clock. Let's see who's there.
You got 2 o'clock on your phone?
Yeah, I got 2
My
o'clock.
phone says 2:01.
You don't have your phone on you.
It's the time difference between us right here.
Are we actually on?
Are we on?
Yes.
On?
Yes, 4:43. Okay. Well, tell them what are we doing today? Yes, we are on.
Why don't you go to YouTube and see if you can see us?
Yeah, I can see us.
Oh, great. Hey, everybody. This is John and Finn coming at you. Welcome. We hope everybody's happy, healthy, and well since we've all seen and chatted with each other. And we are doing the beginning of what we hope to be a 2-3-part series of talks and interviews with folks who have published books. It's charging over yonder there. That have published books regarding the tiny house movement, useful tools and resources, and their own personal experiences of living tiny, minimalism, building tiny. And fortunately, the cool thing is that some of the folks that we're all going to be meeting with today are old time friends of Finn's of mine. And
you said old
time.
Old?
I didn't say old. Well, okay, Jay's old. I'll give Jay. Wait, who's
older?
Am I older than Jay?
I think. But seriously, you are a lot older.
Really? I'm older than Jay? I remember in my day, Jay was just a little boy. But anyway, so that's what's going on today. And when we wrap up the live today, we're going to re-edit this and we'll put it out here on the YouTube channel so folks who aren't able to make it today can go ahead and see it. So it's really cool. So today we have our authors. We have first off is a really good old friend of ours. She's been to a number of our events.
Stop using the word older.
I'm talking about time in regards to
older,
our relationship and dynamic with them. What do you want me to do? Say, talk about you being a young kid? You know, come here, sit on daddy's lap.
Keep on going.
But anyhow, so first of all, a longtime friend of ours.
There we go.
Felice Cohen is going to be joining us. We have Melanie Copeland, who is a good friend of ours. Kim, I apologize. No one has said your name out loud to me before, so this is the first time I'm gonna hear your name, and it's going to be coming from me. So Kim Rockamore,
I think.
Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course the man himself. Is Jay considered the father or grandfather of the modern tiny house movement? What did they say? Is he the father of the modern tiny house movement or the no, he's the father of the modern tiny house movement, right? Yeah.
I think so.
So, and Jay Schaefer, who Finn and I are fortunate enough to be able to call a friend. So it's really cool. Speaking of Finn, here she is, my Thai hottie with the smoking hot body, my wife, Finn. And
something in my face.
And so our first guest today is let me see here, Christine Dreams. Hi, happy to see Jay will come. I mentioned I'd like to see him. Happy this is a thing. Hi, Melanie. Hi, John. Looking forward to being introduced to the other authors and activists. Cool.
And today we are not filming at our tiny house. We're actually at the community house. And why?
What house?
Community house.
No, say it again.
Community house.
All right, I just wanted to hear it. It's just fun the way you say it. Say Puerto Rico for me.
I'm eating.
Okay. Really, you won't say Puerto Rico for me? So we're coming at you right now live from our 16-acre beloved cabin, tiny house homestead and stay. This is our Airbnb community with multiple tiny houses, yurts, bus conversions, etc. But we're in the community house. This is the house, 2,000 square foot house that we let all of our guests and residents and friends hang out and stuff.
So at some point, you might see our guests just walk by. That is
don't mind them. They're just bathing. It's fine. They got a towel on them. It's all perfectly fine.
Is that closed optional here?
What's that?
Is that closed optional here?
Oh, you know it is. Anyway, so our first guest today is our dear friend, Felice Cohen. Finn and I have had the advantage of knowing her for a long time. She has spoken at a number of our events. She's always well received and anticipated. The only negative thing we can say about Felice is how much we've missed her for the past year and a half. Her not being able to come to our events. Felice became, I believe, and Felice will correct me on all this. Her first book, I believe, was an account of her grandfather as a victim of the Holocaust, and she can share more on that. And then her book that many people who come to our events know all about. It's okay, Felice, you're going to hate me for this. 90 things I have learned living in 90 square feet
90
or less.
lessons.
90 lessons I've learned.
Things.
Okay, I'm gonna let Felice promote and plug that one. The really sad thing is right here on the screen in front of me is the name of her book, and I still blew it. So thanks a lot, John. Wait, lessons. Oh, forget it. I'm gonna let Felice do it because I'm just butchering
This is what you
it.
did to your longtime friend.
Yeah, this is what I did to my old friend.
And
So, but anyway. So, without further ado, let's bring on Felice here.
let's bring out Felice. Dun, drum roll, please.
Brown chicken, brown cow. Here she goes. Here you go. 3, 2,
Two,
1,
one.
and Felice.
Felice.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
How was that for a butchering of an intro? An intro that I've probably done like 6 times over the years, and I totally just blew it.
Yeah.
I think what's happening is the longer my hair grows, the gray matter keeps shrinking inside. But anyway, how you been? How you doing?
I'm good. I miss you both. It's been so long since, with this pandemic and missed the festivals.
And you, speaking of pandemic, you've actually been in the thick of it. You're in New York right now,
Yes.
correct? And you've spent your pandemic time between New York and your folks' place in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I've been at the beginning. I was here for 2 months. It was insane. New York City just kind of came to a standstill, and it was crazy. I mean, you'd walk down the street, you were the only one on the street.
Those photos you shared were kind of apocalyptic. Some of those photos, they were just so, wow, so weird to see. Like you posted one in the Wall Street district, I remember, and it was like there was no one in that photo. It was bizarre to see that image in the daytime with not anybody walking around or anything.
Yeah, I biked down from the Upper West Side to Wall Street all the way. It took 12 minutes. I mean, you barely stopped. You didn't have to stop for any lights, no cars. It was apocalyptic. It was crazy.
Things. How are things today?
They're ticking back up. Definitely, things are busier. Broadway's reopened slowly but surely. Things are coming back. Restaurants.
Don't call me Shirley.
That's okay.
Remember that airplane?
Yes.
I can't remember his name now. Leslie Nielsen.
Yes.
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah. God, I forever love that show. Your book, that is a true account of you living in under 90 square feet or at exactly 90 square feet.
It's actually it was a little less than 90 square feet. Yeah, it was 12 by 7.5.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 years. I
5 years.
to stay 1 year just to finish my first book about my grandfather. And then, my life at the end of that year, I was like, this is great. I don't have to get up for a job. I had, left my stressful job. When you have less space, your expenses shrink. And it was the best year of my life. So I just kept staying and staying and staying.
For our viewers, listeners today, to put that into perspective, if anybody has ever seen a 10 by 10 pop-up canopy at a fair or a carnival or in your own backyard at a beach, your apartment was less than that, because that's 100 square feet. That's 10 by 10.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. It's just
Did you actually put it that way? I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's right.
That was awesome. What a great reaction. That was so cool.
Right, for someone who lives in tiny space. But yeah, it was like the equivalent of the circumference of my Honda Accord.
And you have bathroom, kitchen, everything's in there?
I had a bathroom extended off. I had no kitchen. I called it a kitsch. I had a toaster oven and a mini fridge.
That's so
But that works.
that's so kitschy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
nice.
kitschy, for New
It's
York, it was
kitschy.
kitschy. And I had the loft bed, with only 23 inches of space.
So I've got a question. The title of the book. The title of the book is super descriptive. I mean, there's no imagination needed for what this book is about. As two people have been struggling to get our book done, and which you've counseled us on a couple of occasions, what led you to make such a descriptive title instead of like living tiny on 90 square feet, something like that? Why did you go with such a big, super descriptive, hit the nail on the head title?
I don't know.
Okay, great answer. Love it.
We can't swear on this. I should have done something a little shorter and catchier, but the words take up more space than my actual space did.
When the title of your book is bigger than your apartment.
It's 90 lessons for living large in 90 square feet or more.
Right.
Because not everybody would be like 90 square feet. And, looking back, I would have done a different title, but it is what it is. And, it's life lessons. It's how to organize, how to get motivated to get rid of stuff. It's also just how to, live more consciously with less things and how to appreciate more.
I like what you just said there about motivating, because I read a lot. Ask Finn and people. I love to read stuff, and your book is not, in my opinion, a how-to book. It's a motivator of living one's life in their own terms in a good way. And you give you give a blueprint, you give a little floor plan, you give some suggestions, but you give a lot of encouragement in your book, and I really like that as well. So it's not, for anybody out there thinking of the title, it's not a how-to book. It really is not a how-to book, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I said in the book, it's not a how-to. It's more of a want-to guide to how to live the life you want to live. We know, you and I have known you guys for like almost a decade. You want to be able to do what you want to do. You want to wake up and you want to go for a bike ride. You want to go for a hike. You want to read on the deck. You want to make a cup of coffee. We're not beholden to a 9-to-5 stressful job, because we've kind of decreased our size and our footprint and all that stuff. And you realize eventually that stuff ends up owning you. So it's
love that.
That's what I'm talking about, living a slow life.
Finn was just emotionally sharing that yesterday about living. It was a very tender moment for the two of us. It made me actually look at her like, oh, wow.
I just want to do what I want to do and do it in my own pace. Do it intentionally.
Yep.
Rather than just rush through life.
Right. Well, without shoes, because I know you don't wear shoes.
And that too, yes.
Yeah, and like we get a shoe sponsor, and she's like, really, seriously, what am I gonna do?
Put it around my neck.
So.
That's what I do.
As long as you keep getting tetanus shots, we're good.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Good point. Good point. When you first walked into your apartment the first time, did you walk in? Did you almost just say, "Oh, the heck with this," and leave, or did you like instantly go, "Oh yeah, I can do this easily"? Was there a challenge in you wanting to do that once you saw the apartment?
Yeah, that's a good question. I brought a friend with me, and the girl I was subletting from had stuff everywhere. And it was a mess. You could barely even stand in it. And my friend was like, let's get out of here. Let's go. But I've been a professional organizer for so long. I'm trained to see the order amid the chaos. So I knew that, a lot of stuff is going to make any space feel smaller. So, I said, okay, I can do this just for a year. How hard could it be? And then the day I moved in, the movers came and just stacked the boxes and the bags, put stuff in the tub. And I just looked around and I had this feeling of excitement that something was going to happen, like a change or something. And I knew, like in New York City, you have to go up. The buildings go up. And I knew that if I went up, I had high ceilings, that I could make it livable. So, I lived at my desk. And when I was working, the whole place kind of became my office. And when I was entertaining with one friend, it became my kind of entertainment. And and I live in New York City. I was a block from Central Park and the Upper West Side and Lincoln Center. And I realized if I could just change my attitude about it, like, yes, it was a tiny space. I mean, I wouldn't suggest it for anybody. It was very small, but I could go outside. I could, that was my backyard. And it was taking that attitude adjustment, because at first I had a panic attack that first night. And I woke up in the wall and everything in the ceiling. And I realized it was what my grandfather went through, that after what he went through, this was nothing. This was nothing. And I learned to love the space.
And for those of our listeners and viewers, when you just referenced your grandfather, would you bless us for a moment just to share what you're referring to, please?
Sure. The whole reason I ever moved into 90 square feet was so that I could finish writing my first book, which was about my grandfather, who was in the Holocaust for 5 years. So was my grandmother. And he had asked me to write his book. And I was working all these, a stressful job and other stuff. And I realized I didn't have the time to do it. And so I said, I'm going to give myself 1 year to finish writing the book. And then because of the video of the tiny book, it sold my grandfather's book around the world. So I felt like it was, there's an expression in Yiddish, beshert, something's meant to be. So I moved into that tiny space just to write the book about my grandfather. And then the video kind of sold his book around the world and shared his story with so many. And it was a real blessing. It was great for him. It really validated for him all that he went through.
And your grandfather, what was his name?
Murray Schwartzbaum.
Murray,
yeah.
Murray Schwartzbaum. Okay, very, very, very good. Is that your mom's side or dad's side?
My mom's side.
Okay, all righty. Because I was about to say, I don't think your dad is Schwartzbaum.
No.
I've heard your dad's name, but I was like, wait a minute, it's not Schwartzbaum. Yeah. So it was the video on your book about your grandfather that went viral.
Well,
I thought it was the video on, but didn't a video go viral about your 90 square foot book?
Right. And and in that video, it had the cover of his book on the screen. So people, at first, I was getting so many emails from people like, I love your tiny space or how you organize. And then people said, I got your book. Your grandfather's a hero. And then, I would call my grandfather up every time. And suddenly this book, I didn't plan on selling any copies of my grandfather's book. I just wrote it as a gift for him. And then it just kind of took on a life of its own. And he and I even spoke the last few years of his life in schools. And it was, it was great. We were so close. So
my Grus daddy, a lot of folks who know my story, my family's Amish, and my Grus daddy, my grandfather, he see that Dutch coming out every now and then. In his final months, I had the opportunity. I would drive from Tampa, Florida, as soon as I got off work, and I'd race down to Sarasota, Florida. And back then, it was about a 2-hour drive because there was no interstate I-75 yet. And I got to sit with him for about 6 hours, and he would just lay there in bed. Sometimes, he might need help to get up to do something. He might sleep, but the vast majority of the time, he just talked about everything from the moment he saw me. He was reminding me, like, you remember the time we built the dry well and you didn't understand how it worked. Like, he was just pulling all this stuff out and things about him and my grandmother, Grossmami. That's really cool that you got to have that opportunity with him, because for me, that's something I'll forever cherish. So that's cool that you got to have that time.
Yeah. And that's what the whole thing is about, right? It's about the time. It's about getting more time. And that's why I like to be organized. You have more time to spend it with people, that you want to spend it with, people that you want to see, things you want to do. You want to live the life you want to live, and you can't get those, memories back and those experiences.
Exactly. If you said your book, as we wrap things up here, is there one thing, one person, one incident, one memory, if you will, about your book that has been like the most wow moments of your book coming out, even if it was something personally for you? Your 90 square foot book. Notice I keep saying 90 square foot so I don't mess up the title.
You know what it is? I always thought I grew up in a big house, and I always thought I would live in a big house. And after 5 years of living in 90 square feet, I realized that's not what I want. You want just to be able to live the life you want to live. And that's really why I wrote that book, to be able to share how to do that. And it's not hard. And it's so worth it. I mean, we see how fast time goes. You want to enjoy as much of it as you can.
And time does go fast. It's hard to imagine just January of 2020, Finn and I were overseas, and that we were racing to get home in February of 2020. We were in Istanbul, and COVID was coming up through Iran, and I was just like, we're getting out of here now. It's just so hard to believe that all was happening a year and a half ago. I mean, so much. So, and that's just 18 months that have transpired. Right. Gosh, the time does fly. Felice, we thank you so much. If I wanted to find your book on Amazon, what's the quickest, easiest way for me to find your book on Amazon? Just your name, look up Felice Cohen.
Felice Cohen, or 90 Lessons for Living Large. But yeah, Felice Cohen will bring up many books.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Good luck up there in New York. Keep posting the pictures. And thank you, too, for those messages you send through Facebook Messenger every now and then. It's always sweet hearing from you. And I appreciate you always asking about me and my health and everything. I kind of feel a kinship with your dad as we both progress.
Yeah.
and that's how I like to look at it, as we progress.
Yeah. Well, you guys are family to me.
Thank you much, dear. You take care.
My pleasure. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye, please.
Bye, Finn.
Bye. And that is
There she is. All right. So that's Felice Cohen coming at us from New York. How cool is that? So again, if you're wanting to get Felice's book, what I would do is Amazon. Look at Felice's name. And then I believe Lessons Living Large, 90 lessons learned living large in 90 square feet or more.
There we go. You got it, boy.
It's a great book, but Felice, that title's going to ruin it. Oh. So next up here is someone that we got to become friends with just like in the past 6 months or so. I mean, we've known each other. We've shared thumbs up and things like that over time on posts on Facebook and stuff of that nature. But to actually get to know and communicate and now friends, in fact, our next author on the down low, on the outside, not publicly, she's been a good counsel to me. She's been able to, that was my wife making noise in the background.
Sorry.
Quiet back there. We are filming. But our next guest and author is Melanie Copeland. So I'm going to bring her up right now.
Hi, Melanie.
What did I do here?
Hey, guys.
It worked this time. Oh my gosh, that is a beautiful wall there behind you. Are we inside your tiny house right now?
Yeah, so this is my little 4-foot loft, which is where I do a lot of my writing, and my wood burning business is up here. And I figured this is a great spot to just chill and relax today.
Absolutely. Oh, very, very nice. Cool. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
So before we get to the book, since I brought up your house, correct me if I'm wrong. You and your husband got a shell, not a finished house, but a shell from Incredible Tiny Homes out of Tennessee. And then you all did the internal build yourself, or how did that all, or did you help build the shell and then you took the shell
right
off?
Well, it's kind of a weird situation. So they used to do what was called like a university or a workshop, and you would come for a week, and they would provide certain professionals, a plumber, electrician, that kind of stuff. The walls were up, the roof was up, so the basic framing was done, and then we had to come in and do all of the rest. So it was a little less than maybe what a normal shell would be if you were gonna get one from a company, because we had to do some extra work in those regards too.
Okay, gotcha. And when you took it home, when you left from Tennessee with the house, where did you go to?
So we built the house in 7 days, and
Okay.
then we came back to, that was in Tennessee. We came back to Virginia,
That's what it was.
and the house came 2 or 3 days after that to Louisa County. So it was about 10 days from initial build to kind of move in time, which was crazy. So yeah, it was really blurry. It's just, when I look back, it's really blurry on a lot of that stuff because they were really, really long days.
And now, and then you went from Virginia. You're where now? Carolina?
We're in Virginia, but we moved. So first we were in a backyard, a friend's backyard, for about a year, which was where we were like illegally parked because there wasn't anywhere for us to go.
Sure.
And then we found a campground, which is, I had called this campground when we were first building, and they wanted no part of tiny houses. But then about a year later, I guess they'd had a few that had come through. So they were like, hey, we're kind of familiar with this. We'll let you park here. So then we moved there for 7 months. And then that campground sold. And the new owners of it owned several other campgrounds in our area. And we knew that they were not tiny house friendly. So basically, we were looking at an eviction notice.
Okay.
We were up against the wall. And so we worked with, I have a group here in Virginia, and we'd all been calling around counties and cities and trying to find places to go. And we found Buckingham. And so now we're on our own land and we don't have to worry about being evicted anymore. So
isn't that the amazing thing in life when you have these challenges, these foreboding things that so many of us are like, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be horrible. And then it opens up, it segues us and opens up that threshold to something wonderful and incredible.
And it's so bizarre the way things played out, because like at my host house where we were illegally parked, just a month or two after we left there, the neighbor behind her decided to do all of this construction and started tearing down trees and bringing in zoning administrators. And I was like, oh man, if we had stayed even one more month there, they would have been all over us. They would have been like, get out of here. We would have just been completely caught. And then with the campground, it was, how it played out to getting our land here was just a matter of a couple of months. So it was the same kind of thing. If everything just lined up somehow it just lined up, and we're here.
Fantastic.
And we took it all on a leap of faith, and there was really no plan. I mean, we were just trying to get legal and trying to live a simpler life. It shouldn't be this hard to live a simple life.
But now, so your quest was, you started off, you built your house, you went through the land challenges, and real quick for our listeners, the title of your book.
It's called Trailblazing Tiny, A Guide to Breaking Free. Trailblazing Tiny, A Guide to Breaking Free. And I have it.
Oh, there you go. Fantastic. And yet, in all your accolades, in your quiver of accomplishments since going tiny, builder, land acquisition, author, you've actually become a very big advocate in the Northeast and across the country. You're involved with local changes for the exception for tiny houses being accepted, and then also you're involved in an international project as well for. And I don't want to get segued too much off onto that, but you've actually blossomed into a major advocate within the tiny house movement for legalization of homes and standards. Yeah.
And I feel like it's very important for tiny house dwellers to be advocates ourselves, because if we as consumers don't speak for ourselves, who speaks for us?
Very good. Yep, absolutely.
It's important for zoning and city officials, and these people are amazing. Like I can't even explain how highly I feel about my zoning officials or building inspectors that I've spoken with over the years, because they're amazing people and they're here to help consumers and do-it-yourselfers in whatever way they can for the most part. And I've had such positive experiences with them that I think most people are so scared to talk to, oh, we're going to call zoning, like,
Right.
and I'm like, no, just call them. They're really awesome to talk to. And
They really are. Yes.
yeah, and they'll work with you and they'll explain, or they'll try to help you in whatever way they can. And so I feel like, at the end of the day, they're working for us. And, the more that we communicate with them and tell them what we're trying to do, the better stance we have in moving forward. So it's, yeah, I never thought that I would be like anything other than just a little tiny house dweller who built her house. That's really all I wanted to do. And
Well,
I'm grateful for it.
You're far more than just a tiny house dweller I mean, I've listened to you talk on an international stage. I've listened to you talk about your zoning experiences. I've witnessed you people who wanted to, this is my opinion, take claim for your efforts or attack your efforts, and how you've been able to just so positively handle those things and rise above it, and just show by example how positive what you're doing, the positive accomplish. I think that's really cool. I know for me, when I'm in those situations, I get like, I want to fight back. And you just were so positive.
It's hard. Honestly, I contribute a lot of that to living a simpler life, because I don't feel the stressors of everyday life like I used to. And it's such a positive experience. It has been for us living tiny. Our house is 144 square feet, and we feel very centered, very calm, and very confident and secure in our life and our choices and what we've done to get here. And I feel like if people don't see that or are frustrated with that, then that's in their life. And I wish them the best. But it's, going forward, we have so many amazing things to do in this movement that, not everybody's going to agree with it, and that's fine. Sure. But, sure. We're going to do the best we can to show them what living tiny can be. And it's amazing. So that's my goal.
So tell me now about the book. I've spent all this time talking about all of your accomplishments and questioning about what you've been able to achieve for yourself and others. Tell us. Hey, there's Jay Schaefer. He just popped up, everybody, and he's waving
to
me.
Jay.
Jay's online in the wings, everybody. So
right.
Tell me about the book, the motivation for doing it, and what do you think it offers the best at?
Yeah, so I have, I've been in the movement for a long time, and it's hard to do what I've done. And it's hard for a lot of people to even just pick a builder or try to find a place to park. And it's a very overwhelming process to go tiny and be simple. And there was nothing when I did it. There was nothing to really help me. I was just in groups, and we didn't even have groups when we first started. So that kind of came after. So I thought, hey, I'm going to make a book that kind of gives someone some steps to follow and some ways to think about what they need to do if they really want to do this, because there's a lot to it. And you go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to build a tiny house and I'm going to park it. But then there's, oh, well, now I have to downsize, or now I have to do this and that. So I wanted a book that kind of laid out the process and showed our story of what we did. But at the same time, I wanted to talk to other real people. I didn't want to talk to everybody that was super famous, because so many people are doing this now. Just everyday people are doing this now, and they're doing it just fine. And I'm like, so if you're scared or you're worried about the process, like, here's a chance to get some interviews from some people that are just like you and me, just built a house and want to live a simpler life. And so that was kind of the goal. It was just to really help somebody see what it takes, and what you need to do, and what other people are doing to make it happen, and provide some information and a really good guideline to get them where they want to be.
Gotcha. What has there been that aha moment since the book has come out? Like that person, that review, that comment. I'm looking at comments on the screen here, and people are like, the book is a great book, inspirational book. Have you had that moment where something occurred or something was said or you read something and you were just like, oh man, this is why I did it. I'm so glad that I wrote this book.
Yeah, I've had a couple reviews come in that were like, that said, this is the book that we've been waiting for.
Right.
And, you're just kind of sitting there going, well, this is the book that I wish I had when I started. So when someone says something like that to me and I can see that it helped them even in some little way, because I didn't have that kind of help, that's the moment when I go, yeah, I'm really glad I did this, because this isn't a little book. It's 444 pages. It was a lot of work. And,
right.
To know that it at least helped one other person. But I think the review that said this is the book we've been waiting for in the tiny house movement was the one that really caught my heart, because I feel like, hey, it really did help somebody, and that was why I spent all the time writing it. So yeah, I've been really blessed. The reviews have been amazing. People have shared this book all over. I had really didn't expect to sell more than 10 copies of this book. So the fact that I'm in, selling hundreds of them is amazing.
The last look I said 140,000 books. I'm joking.
The what?
The last I looked on Amazon, you've sold 140,000 books.
No,
I'm joking. No. I'm joking.
No.
I just assume from all the positive comments, so,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
If I went out to Amazon, what's the quickest, easiest way that I could find your book? Look up your name, Melanie Copeland, or look up the
Melanie Copeland, Trailblazing Tiny. Even if you don't have the little subline, A Guide to Breaking Free, Trailblazing Tiny should bring it up.
All right, very good. And if folks want to reach out to you, have you speak at their events, have you talk at their local areas, do you have a website?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook page. It's the name of my tiny house. My tiny house is Serenitas Tiny Living. You can send me a message there, and I respond pretty fast to people.
Fantastic. Yep. Well, thanks a lot, Melanie. We really appreciate it. And thank you, too, for all the behind-the-scenes support and counsel you've been giving Finn and I. Thank you so much for all the support you're giving Janet Thome, Tiny House Alliance USA, and the International Standards program that's going on. For you folks, I've referenced that before. Melanie is involved, and a bunch of people are involved from around the world, different countries, in creating standards, building standards for tiny houses, not controlling how tiny houses are built and not government control, but standards, just like houses, RVs, boats, everybody, there's standards that these things recognized. Melanie and Janet Thome and others, Elizabeth Singleton, I think Jay.
There's a lot of us.
I think Jay Schaefer is part of that too, isn't he? Isn't Jay Schaefer involved in that? Also,
Jay is involved in that. Yeah. And a lot of people, and a lot of do-it-yourselfers and builders and certification companies. It's really amazing. So, thank you. I appreciate it, and I sit on that side to protect do-it-yourselfers. Well, so that's my main goal, is consumer advocacy and do-it-yourselfers. And we need a voice there too. So
we appreciate it. Melanie, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Christine Dreams, you said, can we share Melanie's book link? It's going on the screen underneath Melanie's name as we're talking here. Bye, Melanie.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Bye. Thank you.
All righty. So Melanie Copeland, again, folks, check out her book. Check her out online. And I've had the opportunity to listen to her speak. She's an amazing speaker if you're looking for somebody to speak or present at an event. So next up, this is really unique because the person that we're about to interview and meet we've just actually got to get to know through the process of organizing this event. Kim, I pronounced your name for the first time out loud before you came on. I see Kim right now. She's going to be popping up here real soon. And just correct me. First thing, correct me if I mispronounced your first name. But Kim Rockamore. I hope I'm saying that right. So let's get you to come up here in the screen. I'm going to do that right now.
Let me do it.
There
you go.
And here she goes. Yay, Kim. Yay.
Hey.
Fantastic.
You actually did great. People usually try to make it sound like much more exotic than that, but it's Rockmore. So good.
Oh, Rockmore.
Yeah.
And I was going for that exotic Rock-amore. So,
right. Yes. I mean, I will answer to anything similar to Rockmore or Rockmore or Rockamore. So I'm used to it.
All right. So one more time for all of us folks. Kim
Rockmore.
Rockmore. You know what? Not like it's spelt, but exactly like it sounds.
Yeah.
So
leave it to the French.
So it was really interesting. I'll be honest, you weren't even on our radar. And then Melanie, who we just talked to, she brought you to our attention. And then I looked, I started trolling you all, started looking at your Facebook, started looking at things. And I was like, how the heck did we not know about this person? So you really had an amazing journey, and you have a really incredible story. The name of your book, share that with everybody.
Yeah, so it's Tiny, How Going Tiny Can Lead to Big Freedom.
Tiny, How Going Tiny Can Lead to Big Freedom.
Yes, and it's my story of how we got here. 2 years ago, we were living the American dream, I will say, with the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I was working a job that I was completely burnt out in.
Right.
I was sacrificing my family. I was sacrificing my health. I just was burning at all the wrong ends, let's say. And my job got eliminated, and I had a choice. And I said, this is not who I am. I don't want to be this person. I want to be there for my daughter. I want my daughter to know me. I want to be there for my husband. And so it got the ball rolling. And so really this book is that story, as well as some practical guidelines to get people started on their own journey.
Now, you and your husband, you all built your house from scratch, from soup to nuts?
So we did not. I don't even play Legos with my daughter. That's how much I don't trust myself with building. So we actually hired a professional builder, and I worked very closely with him. I designed the house because my background is in process efficiency. And so I wanted to make sure the layout would work for a family of 3, because we are tiny with our little girl, and then also 2 dogs. And it had to work for all of us. And so I worked with that builder to design it. So that was the side of the process I was involved in.
Great. You want to give your builder a plug, or you want to say his or her name?
Yeah. So if you actually go to Facebook and you search at Tiny Hawk Homes, you will be able to find their information. He did a fantastic job with my house. Really customized it to make sure that it fit us and kind of our daily processes and daily flows that we do as a family. And so shout out to him. And I encourage, if you're in the market looking for someone, they're a great place to start.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, are you living on your own land, or are you in a community, or are you in a park somewhere?
Yeah, so we are in a tiny house community. We're about 40 minutes in the KC, Kansas City metro area.
All right.
And that was another unexpected part of tiny living. Kind of what Melanie was talking about. Love Melanie, by the way. Melanie, thank you for inviting me into this. But we had nowhere to put our house. And that is one of the biggest barriers. And I write about that in my book too. Like, if you are thinking about going tiny, the first thing you need to think about is not the house itself. It's where you're going to put it, because that is the biggest and hardest barrier that you're going to come up against in doing this lifestyle, unfortunately.
It is. It really is. Something Finn and I can't counsel to everybody is when they ask us about buying a house, building a house. It's like, please have a game plan, not what you think you're going to do, but have a game plan when you take possession and move into that house, what you're going to do, where, even if it means having a local self-storage unit place you can park it in until you find a place. So you don't have the neighbor or the yellow sticker put on your front door that refuses to come off no matter what you use. Finn and I have been very fortunate in our 10 years of living tiny. It just all worked out good for us in our research and everything. But so many people have so many challenges. So yeah, I'm really glad you pushed that. It's important.
And even when and I'll put this out there too, just because I've just gotten recently connected with Janet as well. And I know they're doing fantastic work and trying to get those standards set, make it easier for us, and making sure that everyone's staying safe and we're meeting guidelines, which is fantastic. But I think the most impressive thing is that they're actually including the people who are already living this lifestyle. And so it's not a bunch of people who have no idea about what tiny homes are or how they're lived in. It's the people who are living the lifestyle that are getting to bring that feedback and contribute it, which is just fantastic. There's fantastic work going on there, because even if you are able to find maybe a piece of unrestricted land, we recently just found out that unrestricted doesn't really mean unrestricted depending on what county you're in. So don't get too excited. So there's a lot of red tape that you're going to come up against when you're trying to go into this lifestyle. But I promise you, in my book says this over and over again. Yes, there are things and there are hoops that you have to jump through, but it is so, so worth it. Living this life is so worth it. It has healed, I would say, my family. Turned me into a person that I'm proud of and a mother again. It has connected me with community that I did not have. We completely paid off our debt, right? Like, that's crazy to me. We completely paid off our debt. It has just been, we're taking trips, we're traveling. Like, I'm working a job that doesn't deplete me now. It's a completely different lifestyle from where I was 2 years ago.
That is just fantastic. And the beautiful thing is that, in my opinion, pretty much anybody can do this. And folks such as yourself who go out there publicly and bear yourselves and show that hey, we were this way and we're this way now. And this is how we got from what we were to what we are. And to be so open and sharing of that, I think it really gives a lot of folks hope. And realization, self-confidence that, hey, I could do this. Finn and I say it all the time. If we were able to do it, I mean, when we met, we were 4,000 miles apart. She lived in London. I was living in Miami. I was all business. I was high strung. I was a nut job. And now we're doing this, now we're doing this. And it's the greatest way for us, and apparently for yourself as well. I love Christine Dream's comments off to the side here. She's like a little cheerleader, rooting you on. And
I gotta figure out who this is. I love her too.
It's cool. It's cool. So it's yourself, your husband, your daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You want to give a shout out to her real quick?
Yes. So Evie, my little girl, she's 4 going on 40, it seems like.
All right, there you go.
She's great.
Any pets?
Yes. So we have 2 dogs. They are not small dogs. So the most common questions and advice that seeking that I get is, how did you go tiny with a kid? Is it even possible? And then how did you incorporate your dogs into your life?
There you go.
And so I write about that. And, this book, I told my husband early on, like, I'm going to be like extremely truthful in this book. And so I lay it all out there. You follow my story from where it all started. You get to see kind of that mind transformation. And it's not just a physical transformation when you go tiny. It is a lot of internal transformation as well, and people grow through this. And I believe that you get closer to being who you are meant to be when you start simplifying those things outside of you, but then also you're taking a look internally.
Fantastic. I've asked everybody this question, so now I'm going to ask you, what was that aha moment? What was that moment since the book has come out that somebody said something, you read something, a comment, even just a self-realization? What was the thing that went, I'm so glad I did this book?
Yeah, so I had a woman tell me that she was not interested in going tiny at all.
Right.
But that she said that the advice and just the mindsets that are reviewed in this book aren't just applicable to going tiny. They are life lessons.
Fantastic.
And when I heard that, you know, my story had that type of impact, that it goes beyond just the dwelling we're talking about. It's about a lifestyle and the way you choose to live your life. That just really touched me. And that's when I knew, like, okay, it was worth the work.
Fantastic. Fantastic. If you had if you wanted somebody to buy your book,
Mm-hmm.
to help themselves or get a copy or whatever, somebody who's thinking about going tiny, how would you persuade them? What would be something you would say to them, like in 1 or 2 sentences? In this would be, without being so self-serving, but what is it about your book that you think would be benefit to somebody? They're living in an apartment in the middle of the city, some big city, but they really want to go tiny. What would you say your book could be to them?
Yeah, so I would ask them, are you living the life that you want? And this book really goes through that. It takes you from the life we were living into the processes and the digging and even the business case of getting to where we wanted to be. And so if spiritually, physically, you know, mentally, wherever you're at in your life, if you ask yourself that question, are you living the life you want? And you say no, then you have some work to do. And that's what this book is about.
Fantastic. Well, Kim, thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking the time, especially on a Sunday. And if folks want to find your book online or on Amazon, it's ticking across the bottom there, I believe, for folks. But what would be something they would search? Would they search your name, or would they search the name of the book?
Yeah, so you can do both. You can do my name, Kim Rockmore, or you can put in How Going Tiny Can Lead to Big Freedom. It'll pop up there. Also, I have other Going Tiny products to help you get started on your journey. If you're ready to hit the ground running and actually start this thing and get going, you can go to thrivingtinylife.com and learn more about that. Mm-hmm.
Thrivingtinylife.com.
Thrivingtinylife.com. And then join my Facebook group too. Melanie's part of that, just like I'm part of hers. And it's just a network of people coming together to share ideas, to inspire, and to help each other, because this is a beautiful lifestyle and we want to share it with others.
Fantastic. What are you doing the weekend before Thanksgiving, November 20th and 21st? Come down to Florida, to New Smyrna, and be a speaker at our 6th annual Florida Tiny House Festival.
Hey, send me more information.
We'll do. We love the book, and we definitely love the story. So thank you all very much.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again. Y'all take care.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
I did it. Yay. All right. Okay. All righty, folks. So that's 3 of our 4 authors. Jay Schaefer was online here down in the bottom waiting the queue, and then he went off. He talked to me earlier today, and he said that there are storms and the electricity is out at his house, and he was trying to figure out how to make it happen. And then I saw him pop up, and he was actually eating something with a spoon too. It was kind of funny. I should have just put it up muted. So I don't know if the storm knocked him out or whatever. So we still got some time here. We sent him a text message. We're going to see if he pops up. That's how we've been talking through text today. But he said, we've got a storm going on here. My electricity is out and my internet is spotty, but I'll figure that part out too. And then a half hour later, he was online. Oh, wait, something's happening.
He is here.
Oh.
What is
So,
going on there?
that was one way for him to start up. So, what is that noise?
I think, Jay, you have YouTube on?
Can you hear me, Jay?
I will. Yes, I hear you. I'm going to click off this bottom image. See what happens.
Okay. You know what I think? I think your speaker might be loud.
Maybe have YouTube
No?
on.
Can you hear me, Jay? I can hear you, but not see you. Hey, everybody, enjoy our technical difficulties. This is live. You think those NBC live musicals or something. Check this one out. Jay, if you have YouTube running also while you're on the link, that could be it also. So if YouTube is running while you're also on the B live link, maybe mute the YouTube. That might help.
Oh, I think Jay got carried by storm right now.
Oh no, Jay was here and he left.
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
back.
wait, he's coming back. Jay, do you have YouTube running also? I think the aliens are invading right now. You know what? Okay, is it iPhone?
No, not nothing.
Okay, when he leaves, it goes away.
He's there.
He's there?
Yeah, but it's no camera working.
All right.
But you can still talking. Just talk without camera.
So, hey, Melanie, can you hear Jay talking and hear me talking also? Can you type a little text? I see Melanie Copeland's online. All right.
It's loud and clear.
Somebody type a text message, Melanie or Christine or somebody saying you can hear Jay talking. Okay, so while we're figuring this out, if you don't know who Jay is, Jay ushered in. All right, he's back, and you know what? That noise is gone too. So I think we're in business.
Yay!
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you, Finn?
Good.
She is doing well. It's all right. Everybody calls my wife John, and everybody calls me Finn. It works out great. That's why Finn makes me wear a dress at night when nobody's
I just hyphenate the whole thing. The John.
Yeah, Finn John Finn.
Finn John.
I haven't seen you since Colorado at the People's Tiny House Festival. How have you been since then?
I've been pretty good. I've been building a
July, right?
I met some people out there. Got abducted by a bunch of hippies and their schoolies, which was nice. And
nice.
Now I got some work out of it because I'm building a little camper for one of them. So
nice.
Oh, how sweet.
Cool. Very good. So, I think pretty much most people tuning in know at least of you. You have accolades of ushering in the era of the modern tiny house movement, the father of the modern tiny house movement. Finn and I were labeled the godparents of the tiny house movement. I think it's because everybody comes to us like little kids asking for candy and or something. But
sounds appropriate.
Yeah, and a builder. You founded 2 tiny house building companies in your lifetime.
There was Tumbleweed. It was the first one, named after my house, my first ever tiny house on wheels. And then Four Lights Tiny House Company, which
Four Lights, and that's who you're building. When you build houses now, you're building through that.
Actually, Four Lights is a bit of a ghost ship these days. It's been that way for a while. I just let it float around, but I'm starting up a new company. This time, just simply Jay Schaefer's Tiny House Company.
You know what? Why not? I mean, hey, the name rocks and it says it all. It's like I was saying to Felice earlier, the title of her book was self-explanatory. I think if you named a company after yourself, I think the world would say, oh, okay, I know what this is about real quick.
Yeah, it seems like the safest way to go. Otherwise, things just get confused. I've had other companies pretending like I worked for them, and maybe this will clear all that up.
There you go. There you go. Now you're the author of how many books? You have the Tiny House book, and then you have one Backyard Sheds tiny house.
The Backyard Sheds book was published by Fox Chapel Publishing, and I self-published a small house book.
The small house book.
That's the one I did. I actually released the first version of that at the same, like in the same week I finished building my first tiny house.
And that's the book with you standing in front of the house on the cover?
That's the one. Yeah, I've got a copy right here. There it is.
Yep,
That's
yep.
me. And
we have a copy in one of our tiny houses here on the property.
Yeah. I actually like that book. It was my baby, I got to do the whole thing, edit it myself, and it was great. And I feel like it's still a valuable book.
So way back in the day, you decided to build a tiny house on wheels. What was the catalyst for that motivation to get you to make that leap to do that?
I get that question a bit. I've gotten it a lot, and my answer to it is almost invariably different, because there were so many reasons. The answer is really, why not?
Okay.
Most of us in this lifestyle know that, why wouldn't you want to live in a house that's more efficient, that meets your needs without exceeding your needs? So, there was financial stuff too. I wasn't able to afford a mortgage on a standard house at that time, a large house. So I just used my wages as a grocery store clerk to build myself a house my own way. And when I found out you couldn't really build a house that small legally, purportedly legally, I put it on wheels, and that's how that all started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We went just the opposite. When we built our house, we could only build it. We could not build it on wheels where we were at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we decided to build ours in a county where I had a hunting tract, 82-acre hunting tract. And they didn't allow living inside of anything on wheels, RVs, campers, things of that nature.
Oh,
but they really didn't care about house size. So what we did was we built a foundation tiny house. And then when we moved it to this property here 6 years ago, we had a company come in and lift our cabin. Our cabin's 300 square feet, and lifted it up and transported it here and set it down for us. So
nice.
Yeah. So we were just the opposite. We couldn't live in a house on wheels. The flip side, though, and the other truth of the matter is, we didn't know about tiny houses on wheels either, because we were thinking about living in an RV, camper, or something of that nature. And we didn't know until we saw Tiny House Listings website.
Oh, yeah?
We were like, gosh, they build these things on wheels. It was like an epiphany to us. So that's kind of cool that we kind of went the opposite ways to accomplish the same thing. So that's cool.
Yeah, my favorite thing these days is houses that can be moved from, a chassis of a flatbed trailer to the ground and back again.
Right.
So you can have either one. And then, if you want to put it on pontoons, you can do that too.
Oh, is that something coming?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been around for a long time, and I think that you might as well. I just like a house that's very flexible.
Right.
Where I can go wherever I want to. Things get weird, I just head for the Pacific Ocean.
There you go. Fantastic. Yeah. We had a friend of ours, Reed Roach. He was part of this project in Tampa Bay out on Beer Can Island. It's a man-made island. The dredging company created an island because they had to disperse all the sand from dredging. They had to put it somewhere, and they built this island, and then the island became like a weekend getaway party place, for younger people. And our friend Reed, he became the manager there, and they transported his house like on a barge out to the island. And then when he was through, they put it back on the barge and transported it back to the mainland. It was kind of an interesting story there. So
interesting. I'm very interested in barges because I want to build a whole village on a barge of very tiny houses, a large barge, small houses.
We saw who were the people, the couple. They're on the West Coast, and they built it's just the two of them, a couple of my age or older, and they have a bunch of barges, pontoons, floating barrels with decks on top, and they built a whole thing of gardens, houses, and then it's all stretched with these big cables between land and the mainland and a rock and a little island, so it stays in place. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing thing. We watched it on YouTube. Where else, you know? But
that's one up in Canada. I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to look it up.
Elder gentleman and his wife. Maybe that's where it is in Canada. Maybe it was in Canada, but it was pretty impressive thing to say the least. What would now you've designed a lot of houses. You got a lot of blueprints out there and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what other than your own personal house, what would be the coolest, like what's the house you designed that you went like, man, I wish I would have built this one too for myself? Do you have?
Well, whenever I have that feeling, I just build it for myself. So I've lived in 7 different, is it 5 or 7? I've lived in a few different houses now, and every time I come up with a design I like better than the one I'm living in, I build that for myself. So
gotcha.
I'm now living in a house that's just 7 feet by 8 feet on the exterior. So it's extremely tiny. And I did it for $3,000. Would have been $5,000 had I not reclaimed so many materials. But I like it because it's so efficient and so lightweight. It can be pulled by any car. And
nice.
Yeah, I think it's a good answer to a lot of the housing crisis problems we're having. So it doesn't have a bathroom or kitchen, but you could snap on the add-on bathroom kitchen unit, and I do like that.
You have something outside for the bathroom, or what?
Yeah, I have a bathroom kitchen lean-to on the back of it, so I guess I do have those.
Nice.
It's just that I thought of them as an afterthought in that case, and just put them out back.
Finn decided about 2 years ago she didn't want the bathroom inside the house anymore. So we moved it outside. We built an attached greenhouse and moved the bathtub and composting toilet out there with all the plants and everything. So that's pretty cool that you have a lean-to. Now she wants a traditional Thai kitchen and take the kitchen outside also. So we'll see what happens there.
I like it. I like that idea.
Yeah. Her parents, when we go to Thailand, and we have a tiny house over there too, next to her parents' house. But there's a community shared outdoor kitchen area, and it's pretty cool because that means her mom cooks for me the whole time we're there.
Hang on a minute. We're supposed to interview him, not him interview you.
I'm agreeing with what he's talking about. I think it's awesome. So cool. I've been asking everybody, and with Jay we can run over, so it's really nice because I don't have to worry about getting everybody in there. I've been asking everybody in all these years that you've been doing this, the books, the houses, public presentations, etc. Was there an aha moment? That moment somebody said something, or you witnessed something, or you realized something that proved to you or showed to you, like, man, I'm so glad, Jay, that I've been doing that. You know, you said to yourself, this is why I'm doing this. Has there been a moment like that? Been too many.
Yeah, there have been a few. I guess it feels good. You know, I really thrive on a sense of purpose and that direct, sense that I'm doing something that's worthwhile is great. You know, if I can get the word out to a bunch of people. But when I did a festival in Colorado about 6 years ago, that was a big moment for me. Well, for one thing, I was assigned bodyguards at that event, so that was very thrilling because it was stroking my ego to make me, making me feel very important. I think they got the bodyguards to make it look like I was important, and it worked on me. And then more than that, at that festival, a few people came up to me and were actually a couple people were crying and saying I changed their life.
Oh, nice.
So that went a long ways. And so there are lots of them, but that made me cry.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
So
So if I wanted to find your book online, is the quickest way Amazon, look up your name, Jay Schaefer, and it lists out the different books?
That'd be the quickest way, but it'd also be the most expensive way. I think Amazon is currently selling my book at $83.
Yeah, what is that all about? I saw that, and I wasn't going to mention that. I was like, I'll keep that to myself. But yeah, I saw that.
Well, they raised the. I guess they ran out of stock, and so they're just selling it like a collector's item now. Even though I have 3,000 of them under a tarp out back, so it's not a collector's item. It's just that Amazon doesn't have any. And frankly, I haven't received any of my royalties from Amazon for 5 years, so I'm not going to give them anymore.
Gotcha.
So I say buy it from me.
Okay.
Somebody reputable.
If I wanted to buy it from you, how would I do that?
I would just go to my temporary website, which is jschaefertinyhouses.wordpress.com. I'm creating this new
tiny houses, plural houses.
Yes.
jschaefertinyhouses.wordpress.com. Okay.
I know it's a little extra long. You got to get if you're going to do the free version of WordPress's websites, you got to include their name in it. But I'm doing that until I get this new business rolling where I hope to sell. Well, I'll be selling houses that are code compliant and on wheels and very small and expandable.
Okay.
So
fantastic.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What's next for you? Or like the house you're in right now, the 7x8. Are you in this for a while now for the long haul, or are you already?
I've been here for a while. I've been here for about 2 years, and I don't foresee moving out of it anytime soon.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm in it for the long haul, as far as I know, unless something else pops up. But you know, I'm living very close to a good friend of mine. I live on his property, just 100 feet from his house, so I've got access to a bathroom and kitchen there too. So
gotcha.
It's more than what I need at this point.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I should also mention, if you're going to buy my book, you could just call me too, or send me a check, because it's a little convoluted right now, being between businesses. You could just give me a call and I could tell you my number right now is
it this the 707 number you and I text on?
Yeah.
You want to put that out there for people just to call?
Oh yeah. Could somebody?
They're nice.
Yeah, could you please? Could you? So I don't have to figure out how to type this in.
Yeah, Finn's doing it right here. It's the one that ends in 3262. That number.
Yes, that's it.
All right, there you go, babe. Right there.
I got it.
Cool. Well, this is a first. Usually people want to keep their personal cell phone numbers to themselves, and you're throwing it out there. So cool. That's awesome. Well played.
Yeah, I used to be very careful about that, but at this point, you know,
I like your business plan. Give out your personal cell phone number and buy 3,000. Buy the entire inventory of your own book to raise the prices on Amazon. Well
yeah. If I sold every one of the books I've had under those tarps for the last couple of years, I would be rich. So
all right. So here's a challenge to everybody. Hashtag Let's Make Jay Rich. We're gonna buy his 3,000 books. I like that. So cool. It's like Gabriella and Andrew Morrison. Their 5 DVD set for tiny house building and stuff. We've got probably we had hundreds of copies of that. The last ones that were manufactured, printed, made, whatever, and I think we still got about 100 copies of that. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you have all that there. You're the one. You're the source for that. So for your own book. So that's nice. Real nice. What, babe? You got a question? You're looking at me with that look like you got a question.
Ask Jay's question.
Oh, I thought you wanted to ask a question.
Like, have you ever had any regrets living in a tiny house or start these, tiny house things?
I haven't ever had any regrets living in a tiny house. You know, there are regrets around the business stuff. Just wouldn't deal with. I'd be more careful. But as far as actually living in a tiny house, no. I've always defined a tiny house as any house in which all of the space is used by the occupant. There's nothing extra, and all the needs are met. So I can't imagine a better situation.
Fantastic. Oh, there's yeah, your phone number there. So
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
call Jay only to buy his book, people. That's the only reason you're allowed to call Jay, is to buy his book.
No late night calls.
Not late night calls. Not help me build my house.
Oh yeah.
Voices.
Yeah.
I should mention also at this time that I probably won't pick up when you call because I won't know who you are. I'll call you back once you leave a message saying that you are not, the FBI or anybody that I don't want to talk to.
People, I know from experience, text Jay. He'll get your text message and respond. So text him. Don't bother him late at night. Hi, hey Jay, let's talk about tiny houses. Chicken brown cow. And so anyway, but anyhow. Well, man, thanks a lot. I know you got a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of pots on the stove, so I appreciate you taking time out. And your power's out there. You got a storm going on or something today?
No, I got the power back, so I'm good to go. There's a storm, but it's fine. I'm warm.
Well, thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate it, and I hope our paths. It was so nice seeing you in Colorado in July. That was an unexpected
it's great.
treat.
And
you were walking by. Yeah, it was. You were walking by, and I said to Finn, I said, "Is that Jay?" Yeah, that was fun. So, cool.
I look forward to another Finn John spotting. I look forward to it in the near future.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for.
Thanks, man. We appreciate everything. Y'all take care.
Bye.
All righty, man. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Let me see if I do this right. There we go. So
perfect timing. Somebody coming.
How cool was that, everybody?
All right, everybody.
Jay Schaefer. And you know what the funny thing is? Right now, pulling up is our Airbnb guest for the day. They just pulled in.
What a good timing.
So what a good timing.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. We're just going to sign up right now.
And next week, November 20th and 21st, 2021, Saturday and Sunday, the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Next month, not next week. You just confused me.
I said next week?
Yes.
All right, let's scratch that. Next month, November 20th and 21st in the year 2021, the weekend before Thanksgiving. Next month, November, the weekend before Thanksgiving. In New Smyrna Beach is our 22nd For Charity Tiny House Festival and our 6th annual Florida Tiny House Festival. We hope everybody can make it out. And if not, we've got 5 more events scheduled for next year. So hopefully you can make one of those. And these are our 4 charity tiny house festivals. To date, Finn and I have been able to raise give away over $703,000 to 104 different charities and causes. And it's only because of people who come out with their houses, their rigs, and the people who come through the gate. We appreciate everybody for helping us through our fundraising.
I can't do a heart. Is that heart shape?
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah.
What all about these other 6 fingers?
That's the arteries going to the heart.
Okay. That makes sense. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and happy Sunday.
And we want to thank all of our authors for joining us. Jay, Melanie, Kim, Felice, you.
No, that's 3.
I said Melanie, Felice, Jay, and Kim.
All right, there you go.
And remember, do something big in your world by simply doing something tiny.
Ta-da! Bye.